My 28M girlfriend, 28F, nitpicks at my lifestyle and it makes me feel insecure. All in the title. During the 2 months we've been dating, my so will often make nitpicky comments. Some of these initially come off as a valid critique on a particular life skill, but then she'll chase it down with a comment like, I just don't know how you lived 28 years without knowing X. This happens a lot when I cook, which I'm still learning to do. Other times she will catch me by surprise, when she comments on something I never thought twice about. On a recent grocery run, she looked at me if I had grown a second head for not buying enough meat for my lunch. Stuff like this has gone on since we started dating. At first it was easy to brush off, and I interpreted it as either a valid criticism or the product of a sarcastic personality. But lately it just feels demeaning. I feel like these comments are playing into a larger narrative about whether I'm functional enough to be in a relationship with her, and it makes me feel insecure. I don't understand where this behavior is coming from. Every relationship requires some personal growth to meet your partner's needs. However, a lot of her critique doesn't feel constructive and some of it isn't even necessary. Frankly, I'm considering a breakup. I intend to confront her, constructively, about this tomorrow, though I fear she may not respond to it well, i.e., conflate behavior as sarcasm. Thoughts? Too long didn't read. My GF nitpicks and second guesses me a lot and it makes me feel like shit. Going to confront her about this. Have a conversation with her and tell her how you feel. If she doesn't listen to you and try to work with you on the issue, it might be worth considering that you're incompatible like others have said before. But definitely talk to her first. She may not understand that what she's doing is upsetting you, and an honest conversation is the best way to change that. Is it the same things over and over, or does she keep discovering new things? I agree that she sounds irritating, but it also sounds sort of familiar to me. When I first met my boyfriend, I kept being surprised at all the things he couldn't do or had never done. Couldn't cook much of anything, couldn't change a light bulb, couldn't ride a bike, hadn't eaten a lot of things I considered staples, had never taken a meter reading, did not have a driving license, did not understand how a lot of bills worked. The list goes on. I can't remember all of it. I found it kind of fascinating and also mildly worrying. As I kept coming across more things he didn't know, I started to feel like I had somehow ended up dating a child instead of a man, and I started having doubts. Every new discovery would compound the previous ones and I absolutely found myself exclaiming, hang on, you've never changed a light bulb light ever? You've never had a single light bulb need replacing in 28 years? And just kind of marveling. It was never intended to make him feel bad. You've only been together 2 months. I agree that she's being rude as hell, but I doubt she's doing it on purpose. Yeah, I was about to say, the example you gave of not being able to cook or grocery plan effectively. I'm not judging you, since you are trying to learn, and good job. But I am judging the hell out of your parents. There is a dynamic in some families where boys/men aren't taught basic housework life skills and it isn't okay. Your girlfriend may be a jerk or you may just be ignorant of the things you don't know. Could also be a mix of both. I have been in her shoes. Being with a partner who is learning things about life at an older age is exhausting. Showing how to cook, how to load the washer so things are actually washed and not just chunked together. Showing how to wipe down the counter after dinner. Telling why it needs to be wiped down. She may be a jerk and it honestly may be annoying that you didn't know how to cook for yourself. Sit her down and talk to her. Let her know you want to learn but you can't if she is so harsh. At the same time, don't expect her to just show you everything and not said anything. Constructive criticisms is great but sometimes luck again happens. I'm not sure why she feels the need to belittle you, which is what she is doing. It's not just offering advice, it's taking it one step further and ridiculing you. Yeah, you could talk about it, and maybe she will stop. But if it starts up again, be prepared to end it. It's only been 2 months and she is already making you unhappy. So first off, nitpicking and making you feel dumb for stuff is not cool. But she may genuinely be shocked that, I don't know, you don't know that you should put sheets on a mattress before sleeping on it. There are certain things where it's like, come on, How did you reach this age without knowing how to do laundry properly? And then there's more subjective things, like, they consider it a sin that you don't have extraneous decorative throw pillows on your bed. My guess is that her nitpicks are some of each. There's a million valid reasons one can have for not fully adulting, as well as the next guy: poverty, neglectful parenting, etc. I think having a discussion about this is a must, but I wouldn't approach it as a confrontation. Yes, she needs to be more respectful, but she should be able to talk to you about these things. Maybe this is an opportunity for you to pick a couple specific instances where she genuinely enlightened you on something, and open up to her about why you did it wrong before, how you grew up, things like that. Tell her you're open to learning, but not if she's going to judge you and disrespect you in the process. Of course, if all her nitpicks are the dumb subjective shit, such as how much lunch meat to buy, then ignore the above. Then it probably is about a difference in values, and it may be hard to bridge that gap, and confrontation is the more appropriate tack to take. Good luck. Should I, 21F, respond to my mill, 56F, even if it will probably be bad for my mental health? The context here is long, so I'm sorry about that. My wonderful, amazing husband, 28M, of a year and a half, passed away in a car accident in August. My mill didn't react as strongly as I did, but I know grief is different for everyone. She asked why I didn't drive him to work like I usually did, and I explained, for like the third time, that I hadn't slept all night from being ill, and there was no way he would have let me drive for 2 hours sick and on no sleep at 4 in the morning. I said I would have happily died in his place if I had the choice, and she, in front of my parents, said she wished that I had. When my sil cried, she was met with "I love you and I'll do anything for you while we get through this." When I cried, she just stared at me. The last thing she said to me in person was questions about money and how she knew how much his life insurance was, and I wouldn't be broke and suffering like her. My father was livid, and made me promise to not speak to her anymore after, but I told him it was probably just her way of hurting. It was very obvious that she blamed me for his death and was mad that I was receiving the money she would have otherwise. She was the next person after me. She organized her own funeral at the same time and day as mine. I had planned around his friends coming in, and they drove for 12 hours to be here for us, so I couldn't just stop and change. When they got here, everyone mentioned that his mother had been very financially abusive. He was very deep in debt from caring for her after she refused to go back to work, and would take whatever money he had. When he met me, I was pretty sickly, and I still am, go chronic illness. So his priorities switched to me when we fell in love. I handled housework and I drove him to work whenever I wasn't sick so he could sleep more. I did whatever I could to help. We were a really good team, and he did confide in me that he hadn't realized how terribly she treated him until we got together. I'm finally at the point where I don't constantly feel like dying. I cry for him often, but I don't blame myself for not driving anymore. I don't like to talk about it, but I have a weird feeling something was wrong with the vehicle, and the best case scenario is that we both died. That's not what he would have wanted, although I wouldn't have minded it. Today my mill, for the first time, reached out to me. Not to check on me. She said, "Please give me a call, I need to talk to you about some things and ask you some questions." And I just do not know what to do. It feels like a setup, but I'm also concerned any conversation we have is going to drag up some of my bad thoughts I've clawed my way away from. I don't know who to talk to about this, and I'm not sure I'll even leave this post up for very long. But I feel really trapped even though I know I could ignore it. Too long didn't read. My husband died in an accident and my mill has made it very obvious she wishes it had been me and is mad about the money I'm getting. She messaged wanting to talk to me and ask some questions, and I don't know if I should even be entertaining that. Edit. I appreciate the condolences and the nice responses. I won't be responding to her at all today. But if I'm still feeling like I want to hear her out tomorrow, I plan to ask her to email or speak to one of my parents. I know my husband would want me to put my own well-being first, so I'll do that. I'm so tired of having extra hurt added to me needlessly. You don't have to talk to her. You can tell her, I'm not comfortable speaking with you after the horrible things you said to me, or you can just not respond. You can also redirect her to email if you'd be more comfortable with that. Completely understand why it feels like you should talk to her, but you simply, 100% don't need to put yourself through that. Can you call up a trustworthy friend for some emotional support around this, just in case you need someone to say it back to you? This woman is trying to hurt you. I'm sorry for your loss. I would refer her to your parents. Maybe your dad can call her back and answer any questions she has. I don't think you owe her anything based on how she has treated you. I am so sorry for your loss and the added stress of an insane mill. I definitely agree with the other user. Please just refer her to your parents. She is very likely to ask for money if you allow her to speak to you. Don't call her. She's asking for money. Refer her to your parents or say you don't have the energy for a call and she can email. You don't owe her anything. Time, resources, etc. I say don't call. She didn't even make a pretense of asking how you were or anything. My initial reaction is that she is going to ask you for money. Did your husband have any items that could have sentimental value for her? If no, then I would definitely refrain from contact. You can always contact her through text message to find out what she wants. It is always easier to deny a request when someone is not being manipulative over the phone, crying, overdramatic, etc. I know everyone grieves in their own way, but she has made it perfectly clear in actions and in words that she doesn't give a flying fish about you. Just my 2 cents though. Credit and life insurance benefits can be left to multiple people. If he wanted his mother to have the money, he would have stipulated that. Like you were to get X amount and his mother, or anyone else, would get X amount. So do not let her use the "he would have wanted me to have some" argument, because that obviously was not the case. A friend, 30F, claims she is being bullied by voices from hidden loudspeakers. Jenny's friend from grad school who I, 33M, haven't seen for several years. We were never particularly close. I mainly knew her through a coffee shop we both frequented, but we have continued to chat online occasionally. In the ensuing years she has gotten a couple quite prestigious postdoc positions, but is now living back in her hometown and teaching. During these couple years she also transitioned and now identifies as a woman. Over the last year, she has started posting about bullies which she claims have accessed her personal information, emails, phone, computer, etc., and used this information to broadcast bullying messages into her home and office. She says these are broadcasted by loudspeakers which are either mounted on cars, in shops, or hidden in her neighborhood. She also claims there is a large group behind this, that it's a whole culture, not just a couple people. This apparently started during one of her postdocs and continued after moving back to her hometown, and even at hotels when on vacation. She says that other people in her neighborhood hear these speakers as well, and are aware of the issue. However, she doesn't have any recordings of these events, because she says she doesn't want to validate their words. I don't live anywhere near Jen, nor do I know anyone who does, so I have no easy way of verifying any of this. I'm nearly certain this is a mental health issue. However, whenever I have steered our conversations towards this possibility, she just shuts down and says she won't share these experiences with me anymore. During her postdoc she apparently spoke to someone in the university about her experiences and they suggested she see a mental health professional, but she didn't take it well. What, if anything, is the best course of action here? I'm worried about her, but I have basically zero experience in this arena. Too long didn't read. An old friend says they are hearing bullying voices. How do I convince them to seek treatment? Edit. What I'm really looking for is how to get her help. I don't live nearby and don't know anyone nearby.